Welcome to Giggles and Gaze, the podcast where we talk about whatever we want to. And welcome to day number 7 of the 12 days of Giggles and Gaze. I'm Alan.
I'm Larry.
And I'm Jeff. Or Flirty. Frisky. Flirty? Flirty.
Flirty.
We just went over this.
Flirty.
But you know what's more important than everything? We're gay.
We're gay.
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 Well, today, everybody, is day number 7, like I just said, and it has been an entire week of Giggles and Gaze. Isn't that exciting?
It's so much fun.
So much fun. But today...
How much fun?
So much fun?
How much fun?
A whole lot of fun.
Ooh, baby.
But today, we are going to talk about the one, the only, the Green Man himself. We are going to talk about the Grinch.
The Grinch. The Grinch.
So today is Grinchmas here
Merry
on Giggles and Gaze.
Merry Grinchmas.
So everybody, what we're going to be doing specifically today, like I said, is talk about the Grinch and his lovely movies. There keeps being a lot of remakes of these movies and alterations and things like that. Originally done by Dr. Seuss, that we know.
Oh, we know him?
That we know. Yeah, we know him.
Shit.
So, today we're specifically going to be talking about 3 different versions of the Grinch. The first one is, of course, the original, the OG. Then we're going to go to Jim Carrey's The Grinch. Or, well, it's not Jim Carrey's. It was directed by Ron Howard. But it is the Grinch that Jim Carrey stars in. And then we're going to talk about the Trainwreck one. We're going to talk about the musical one.
And we're going to just skip over the new animated one because not everybody has seen it.
Yeah, we couldn't watch it.
We couldn't find it. Where are you, Christmas? We can't
Don't
find
get me
you.
started on that.
Larry and I have already had this discussion. So that means that our Christmas icon for this episode is the Grinch. And specifically, Jim Carrey's The Grinch. And why is that, Jeff?
Because that is the Grinch to me.
Yeah. But why?
Why?
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Well, yeah, we all love the movie, but specifically, why is he the Grinch?
He just did such a good job embodying it and just, making the Grinch come to life. Mm-hmm. And I feel like a lot of the Grinches that are at Universal play off of that version of the Grinch.
It's because Jim Carrey's a really easy character. His Grinch is a really easy
Jim Carrey's a really easy character to be, guys.
If Jim Carrey's acting like anyone, there's a lot of little Jim Carrey ticks that he adds to almost any character that he does. But let's go ahead. The first one, the OG, the cartoon one, I happen to really like it.
Agreed. I remember getting to watch it in school when we would have the holiday movies. It was before winter break, and we'd watch all of the Christmas stuff. Inevitably, someone would put on Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
And it was just so colorful and bright, and I really like how they drew the Grinch, and there wasn't a lot of talking.
No,
it was just the narrator. I'm going to look up who the narrator was right now, so continue talking.
Well, because that was more the story. It was just them telling... It was an animated version of the story.
Yeah, and the book isn't very long.
None of the Dr. Seuss books are long.
No,
Let's
but
be real.
They added extra plot and stuff for the...
Well, yeah, they do that in all of them.
But,
you gotta squeeze out 2 hours somehow.
Boris something. And then it was...
Boris Karloff was the original narrator for The Grinch. And that was in 1966, December 18th, 1966. And since then, it's been played every single Christmas.
And Tony the Tiger sang, You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch.
Did he?
Yeah, Tony the Tiger. Thurl Ravenscroft did it, but he also did the original voice of Tony the Tiger.
I was like, what are you talking about? Tony the Tiger?
Apparently there's a whole internet thread about how someone made up that Tony the Tiger and the Grinch were once a couple, And that's why Tony the Tiger sings your main one, because they broke up.
I mean, the Grinch could, he could be whatever he wants to.
He can do whatever he wants.
And he does. In the Jim Carrey version, which was, like I said, directed by Ron Howard, which is probably, I think, out of the three, of the three of us, that is our favorite version of the Grinch, I think.
Oh, I mean, the one we just watched yesterday.
I mean, we'll talk about that in a second. But no, it was just really good. Jim Carrey did a great job. Like you said, he embodied the Grinch.
Yeah.
He was the Grinch. You know what I mean? And then, of course, all of the stuff in the town and Cindy Lou Who and Martha May Who and all that stuff. That I feel like that really embodied
A Cindy Lou Who that makes sense.
the Cindy Lou Who that does make sense. Again, we have
Yeah.
to wait until we get to that last part. But no, it's a great movie.
I think it's a really great adaptation of a Dr. Seuss work. Because, of course, the original animated film worked really well because they could draw the whole thing up. And it was animated by Chuck Jones.
Did it come before Cat in the Hat?
Yes.
Yes, it was a precursor to Cat in the Hat.
Okay.
Because they're like,
That's where they got the idea for Cat in the Hat.
Yep.
Yeah, they were like, if this can work.
And then Cat in the Hat did not.
The Cat in the Hat didn't do terrible.
No, but it was not what I wanted from a Cat in the Hat film.
No.
Is it what anybody wanted from a Cat in the Hat film?
But so what came first? Seuss Landing or Dr. Seuss's...
Seuss Landing.
Seuss Landing came first?
Because it came out in 1999. Didn't the Grinch movie come out in 2000 or something?
I think so.
I'll look it up.
Just looking it up. But to me, there a lot of what is in Seuss Landing in...
2000, so...
They were close.
They were close, but Seuss Landing would have been in production a lot longer than the Grinch movie would have been.
Yeah, they probably stole a lot. They probably not stole, but they probably shared a lot of building aspects in both in the movie and the land to make it look the way it looks. And you can see a lot of different things from Seuss Landing and the Grinch, like both
and this
of
is
them.
Seuss Landing in
Islands of Adventure.
Islands of Adventure,
Universal, right?
in Universal Orlando.
Oh.
Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that parodies that. And just looks very similar.
Well, I think the nice part about the live action one was it's not. I think this is why you feel like Seuss Landing looks the same. They really tried to make the buildings look like they would have in a Dr. Seuss movie.
Right.
Book,
no, I agree.
and stuff like that, and that's what they kind of did at Seuss Landing too. So
they did a really good job in both making everything look like what you would see in a Dr. Seuss book or whatever, and then just like with the noses and all that stuff, and
She hasn't even gotten her nose yet.
she hasn't even grown into her nose yet.
I hate Who's.
Why?
They're so annoying.
Is it because they're happy?
First off, have you ever met the Who's in Seuss Landing
No,
during the holidays? Oh, they're
no,
fucking obnoxious.
we don't really go to the parks during the holidays.
They are obnoxious. They're especially when you're trying to work. They would just come up and be super annoying. But I don't know, Who's just annoy me
with
with their Who hash and
their Who ham and their Who pudding.
And their noise.
Now in that version, beside, I mean, the Grinch is probably a favorite character, but do you have any favorite characters
the Grinch.
in the Grinch the movie?
The Grinch.
I like Martha Mayhew.
I like the Grinch.
I think she's cool.
You're very much... I could see you being a We even talked about it when we watched it. We were like, oh my gosh, that's us.
It's like a Martha Mayhew where she was putting all the lights on her house, and my favorite part that she does is when she's putting the lights on the house, and then she comes around the barrel and like blows it. She's like, it's funny. Or when she slides down the packages and she's like, ooh, like that.
It's just
too.
a great movie.
It's
It
just
is
a
a
wonderful
good
movie.
movie.
Speaking of movies that are not wonderful, can we talk a little bit about?
It's not a movie.
And it's not a movie. Is it not a movie?
It's not a movie.
It's
It's a musical production.
What?
It's not a movie. It was a musical.
Okay.
Because it's not called How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
It's
Called Dr. Seuss The Grinch, the musical.
Okay. So, let's talk about the thing that was on TV. It was a musical, semi-based on Dr. Seuss's The Grinch.
I mean, it was.
Can I go first before you absolutely tear into it?
Yes.
I was gonna say I loved it, but yeah, you go on.
Sure, Jeff. Honestly, the good parts about it for me, I felt each actor did the best that they could in their role. I think the sets were pretty, and I think the concept was a good idea. Now you can go.
Nobody asked for a Grinch musical.
No one asked for a Grinch
No one
musical.
asked for this.
I also disagree with you about the sets.
Yep.
The sets were white.
It was the same thing.
It
They
was
just
like the book.
no. It was the same thing, over and over.
Yeah.
They just
It was
happened
very one note.
to change what the building looked like.
Right. And they always in the town, it was always like they had the squiggly line in the background, the stuff in the background, it always tend to look weird.
Yeah.
The camera would shoot it weird. The music was boring.
Fun fact:
Yes.
Patrick fell asleep, and he woke up at the end. I didn't even wake him up. I didn't bother waking him up.
He's the luckiest of the four of us then.
Patrick made it all the way to the rendition of "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch,"
That was a highlight for me, though.
and he fell asleep in the middle of it.
Oof.
I liked that part of the movie or the show.
I didn't even wake him up.
I mean,
He woke up and he was like, "Oh, it's over," and I was like, "Yes, it's over."
It is. It's fine.
I feel like I watched the thing with my mouth open the whole time. I was just shocked how bad it was.
So one of my, it's not going to seem like a relevant gripe, but one of my biggest problems was the Who's, because Cindy Lou was a little Asian girl.
yes.
Mom was a white girl.
Mm-hmm.
Dad was a black man. Grandma was a white girl. Grandpa was a black man.
Okay, but what if they adopted a lot?
Well, they had to have because they had 5 other kids, and they were all different colors too.
I
but
think they just invited the neighbors over.
I don't. It didn't make any sense to why Cindy Lou was this little Asian girl. And it really, like, it shouldn't be something that bothered me during it, but I hated everything else. So I had to zone in on something to hate at that moment, and I just hated it. And I hated all their weird hair colors, which I get Who's have weird hair, but the dad they just spray painted his hair pink. There wasn't even a wig. Like
Grandpa
they
was
just.
purple.
I think it was pink.
Well, he was purple. Grandpa was purple.
No, Dad.
Oh yeah, no, but I was saying and Grandpa. Was
Oh, I didn't hear the and Grandpa. Yeah, and Grandpa was purple with a little whoop. But like, oh my God, I hated this musical. Like it just was boring. At not one point was I into it, and there were a few funny parts, sure. Like a couple comments they made were kind of funny, but God, I hated it. And why did all the Who's walk around like they had a dick up their ass?
No, here's the thing. They all
Wow.
didn't walk consistently.
Because they all had dicks up their asses.
But like they all walked with like a V. Their feet were all supposed to walk with like a V. Some of them did, some of them did not.
Some of them got railed real hard. Some of them didn't get railed as hard. Why Matthew Morrison?
That ruined his. I honestly feel like it ruined his career. That was terrible.
He wasn't a good Grinch.
He was not a good Grinch. He was just pissy.
Yeah.
He was a grump. He was
a
not
grump,
a Grinch.
not a Grinch. That's a good way to put it.
He just. God, I hated it so much.
But see,
I went in with zero expectations. Because I remember the only reason I knew it was happening is I was watching the Thanksgiving Day parade and they had a commercial with him being like, "Oh, he's the Grinch." And I said, "What the fuck is that?" I was like, no one asked for this.
people hated him being the Grinch before the show even aired. Like people were saying bad things about it.
It was. They didn't push it as much as they could have, and not like advertising wise, but like. The Grinch could have been louder. The Who's could have been whoier. Like the songs could have been better. Also, can we just get into? I like the fact that they used "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch" because otherwise, why do the musical? But what was Where Are You, Christmas?
That's what I was just about to say.
So
First off, isn't
terrible.
that Cindy Lou's song?
It's her
It's supposed
song.
to be Cindy Lou.
Why is the mom staring out the window singing it? And there was
It made no sense.
there was no reason for it in that point. Didn't they
No.
just tell the kids to go to bed?
No, they all woke up, and then it was they all woke up, and that was after the Grinch stole everything, and they were all
he
super
hadn't.
bummed.
He hadn't stolen anything yet.
No, when they seen
It
that,
was.
they had.
They
It was
had already stolen.
directly
He'd already
after.
stolen it.
It was directly after.
They
And-
sent the kids back to bed because they woke up and there was nothing.
and like
Like we understood.
I thought it
where
happened
was.
beforehand.
No, where it was in the show made sense. Who was singing? Who was singing it did not.
Well, because it's supposed to be Cindy Lou, like, all confused about things.
Cindy Lou was
Right.
supposed to be confused throughout the entire show, or
Yeah.
about the entire thing. But Cindy Lou was not confused until the end.
well, exactly. Well, and even then, it was momentary confusion, and then she loses all of her character progression.
She was a self-assured little girl until then.
Like my problem was they wanted to give the Who's a plot and a story and like character growth and progression, and then they dropped it.
There was no reason to give them that, though. Like, that whole Christmas song where they were in the shop made no sense with the story.
No. Ooh, what about the Grinch imagining how bad Christmas is? That was a fun song, wasn't it?
Like, there were so many things about him as a character that were terrible. Number one, his costume I hated
Because of the feathers.
because of the feathers and because of his gloves.
His
You could
ratty-ass
see
gloves.
the top of it was fine, but then when he flipped over his hand, you could see that they were green leather.
Yep.
They did nothing to hide that fact. But I read an article that Matthew Morrison wrote, or Morrison was interviewed in, and he's like, I've had a lot of Elphaba friends, and I didn't realize how hard it was to put the green on, and even the hands, and I was like, what happened to that? You didn't put green on your hands, you're wearing gloves, bro.
Well, exactly. He said it was hard, and so he gave up.
It was just so bad. There were so many bad things about it. Don't even get me started on the two Maxes.
The three Maxes.
They didn't need the
Four
narrator
Maxes?
to be Max.
Technically, there are 4, but
Like, it just didn't make any sense.
because he's telling the story of the Grinch. But then, like, is he implying the Grinch was dead? No, because the Grinch gave him treats at the end.
Yeah. Like, so it didn't make any sense to have him as the narrator. It could have been anybody else. Hell, it could have been an old Cindy Lou Who.
They should have just made it the Cat in the Hat. That would have been funny.
Yeah. Cat in the Hat is a character that has bounced, I feel, through different books and stuff.
I think there was a TV show where they were in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
It was.
Like I sent Jeff the text message after.
Well, I texted them beforehand, and I was like, "Hey, you guys start it yet?" And they're like, "Oh no, we're making dinner, and we're gonna watch it right after." I said, "Good luck."
And then after it was over, I sent him a text message and was like, I'm never going to get that hour back. That hour of my life is gone.
Poof.
Now, we spent a lot of time on that. You can learn from us. Don't watch it. I would not recommend that movie to any, or that TV show, TV musical, to anyone. I give it a -5.
A -5.
-5.
I give it a 1 out of 5. And the 1 star is purely for I feel so bad for the people who are acting as any of the characters. Because you can tell they all have really good chops for anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But they were set up to fail. They were destined. It's like someone had a budget for a musical and they couldn't get the rights to Jack. And so then they're like, all right, well, I mean, we can do the Grinch, right? Can you have 5 minutes on your break? Can you write up a few songs? Yeah, no, we're definitely using the one Grinch song. So you just have to come up with 8 or 10 forgettable songs.
Oh, when they had his heart grow, and it was just like
So weird.
an edit on the thing that just made like Like, you know, like you're watching one of those videos and someone zooms in on something real fast.
Exactly.
Like, it was just like a bloop. But I was like, what the hell?
It was just strange. There were so many strange things about it. I told Larry it sounded like they came up with the lyrics and just went on one of those pianos that played the background music for something and just did all the music with that. It was just terrible. Jeff, what do you rate it?
0. No.
Do you recommend it to anybody?
It's just a no.
It's not a rating.
It's a stink.
Just a no.
Stank. Stunk.
Good job. I like that.
It was awful. It was just...
Happier things.
Happier things are definitely coming along with...
Yeah.
Well, everybody, I'm sorry we just totally destroyed the musical version of The Grinch, but Dr. Seuss's The Grinch was a much better version. Jim Carrey, thank you for being our Christmas icon. And everybody, we really do appreciate you guys listening to Giggles and Gays. Again, this is day 7. Tomorrow will be day 8, and I promise we're not going to talk about The Grinch the musical. And everybody, I'm Alan.
I'm Peppermint Buns.
And I'm Jeff.
And this has been Giggles and Gays.
You guys keep calm and giggle on.
And make the Yuletide gay.